G'day all, Kingbrown here again. I just spotted a Facebook post here a few days ago, and I thought it was rather amusing. I've seen it many a times come up, this same question, and I get asked all the time when I'm travelling on these shows. And the question is, how old is this camp oven? Or how old is my camp oven? Well, I thought I'd answer that question for you, because there's two answers. There's a long answer and then there's the short answer. So I'll give you the short one first, just so we're all clear. The short answer to how old is this camp oven is, who cares? It has no contribution whatsoever to the value or anything else. It doesn't make any difference what year your camp oven came from, what month, what date. Doesn't make any difference. No one cares. We've got two types of camp ovens up here at the moment. Now, the one I was looking at the other day, and this is a common thing I see, is I'll put up a rusty oven, and I'll think because it's rusty it's old. But this oven, I might have bought that 6 months ago and just left it outside, because that's what it's going to look like that, if that's what you do. If you treat the oven like that, it's going to look very rusty very quickly, and that's got nothing to do with its age. Now, you got to be careful of that sort of stuff. Just because it's rusty doesn't mean it's old. I've actually seen a number of years ago a couple of ovens sold. The headline was Rusty Gold on the eBay sale, and one of these old Chinese camp ovens, old as in, sometime between now and 1960, it would have arrived in the country. I don't know how old particularly the thing was, but it was very rusty. So they called it Rusty Gold, antique camp oven for sale. And it went for, at the time, it was like $140, $150. There was a bidding war on it. It was just nuts to watch for the people that are into camp oven collecting and know what's what. We're sitting back going, why? You could buy those things at the time for like $60 brand new, still, in a box, from the shop. So why would you want to pay three times its value just because it's rusty? It's crazy. So but people get caught up. They think, camp ovens worth a lot of money if they're old. But they're only worth a lot of money if they were made in an Australian foundry, or if they were made in an English foundry, or if they were made in a Scottish foundry. It doesn't matter where else on the planet they come from, they're worth nothing. No, not to a collector. They don't give a stuff. It's just the way it is. They only collect foundry-made ovens. The Scottish and the English ovens came over here in the early days, and the Australian foundries made them here on site. They are the only ones that ever have been and ever will be collectible and worth anything more than face value, cooking value. You can pick up a rusty old Chinese oven for $10, so anywhere, and honestly much more than that. If it's rusty, it's not worth it. The amount of work you got to do to clean the thing up, I'd rather just go down the street and spend $100 and buy one. Why bother? But anyway, that's what people do. I think that's great. They take it home, they restore it, and they get use out of it, and that's fine. I get that. So, how old is this camp oven? Looking at it, looks very old, and it's got a bit of age on it. This particular one, I bought 20 of these in one hit years ago for my catering business, so I've probably had it for 10 years or something. This one over here, it is an older oven. Okay, this is a little Albion, actually, an 11-inch Albion oven. It's a beautiful little camp oven. I use this on my own, just for myself, quite a lot in my travels. I used to. It's a bit dirty now because of the floods now. They haven't cleaned it up again. But it's a lovely little old Albion oven. So we know when the foundry finished making the Albions. I think it was about 1907. So it's at least that old. So it's got a fair bit of age on it, this one. But what year was it born? I don't know. I don't really care. It was made somewhere before 1907. If it was a Metters, it was probably made 50 years ago, I don't know, 60, 80 years ago. These foundries, they were making camp ovens, some of them for a couple of generations. They made them for quite a long time. Whichever way you look at it, if you've got a foundry made one, it doesn't make it any more valuable if you can say it was born in such and such a year, or it just has nothing to do with it. No one cares. It's got nothing to do with it. We can tell by the shape, whether it's got ears, the signature signs that it was cast by and crafted by hand and not in a Chinese foundry. That's the only thing that affects the value, is where it was made. It has nothing to do with the age whatsoever. A 1960 model Chinese oven is worth the exact same amount as a 2023 second-hand Chinese oven. There is no difference in the value, whatsoever. There can't be. They're only worth what you're looking at, what you're prepared to pay for a rusty old piece of bloody junk metal. That's all it is. A rusty old one of these is a different story, because a rusty old Albion is in exact same value as one in good nick. They don't improve. It's the fact that it is an Albion that is its value. As long as it's complete and not cracked and no damage, it is worth what it's worth. It doesn't matter if it was rusty; it'd be worth the same as if it was in nice nick. You might get a few extra dollars, but honestly, that's not really the value. It's nothing to do with the age. It's the fact that it is an Albion, that it was made in Australia. That's what makes these things valuable. So the age of the camp oven, I mean, who cares? It doesn't matter. They could be anywhere from, they stopped making them in Australia. Furphy will go until about the year 2000, and the Hardings were going to about the year 2000, but most of the foundries were gone by the 70s. So they're at least that old. Sometime between then and far back as you want to go, really. But if a foundry made ovens for 50 or 60 years, and some of them did, I mean, there's no way of knowing what particular year your particular oven was made in, and no one cares. So the age makes no difference. Don't worry about the age of the oven. If it's a foundry made, it is an old oven. You could have granddads or great-granddads old Chinese oven up in the shed too, and it can be from 1960 to now. That's a pretty long. That gives it a fair bit of age on that oven too. The only difference is the value. This one will always be worth some money, and this one will never be worth any money. So because it was made in China. The age has nothing to do with it, so don't worry about the age. Anyway, Kingbrown out.